ingredient that we use in the supplement is distiller's grain. And distiller's grain, for those who may not know, is typically corn or sorghum, where they've extracted some of the carbohydrate content to actually make ethanol or fuel. The spent product, or the meal that's left for that, is called distiller's grains. Now, people often say, well, you can't feed distiller's grains to horses, and that's actually incorrect. We've used distiller's grain in horse feed for many years, but what we do is there's small inclusion rates, typically as the carriers for vitamins and minerals. So it's quite common on most feed tags to see distiller's grains in some form. What Kansas Ethanol brought to the table was they make ethanol, and they have distiller's grain, and they wanted to make a high quality product. So they came to me, asked me to formulate it, but more importantly, how can we make this safe for horses? So we use some technology. First, we test all the grains for any kind of mycotoxin or anything that can be harmful to horses. In addition to that, we utilize binders that bind any harmful toxin that might be there, so these are completely safe. Ingredients are tested for mycotoxin, and we use a binder, so we've made that safe for them. Well, the distiller's grain in itself are high protein. You've taken away the carbohydrates, so you've concentrated the protein in them, but do they have the correct amount of protein or the correct balance for horses? We went in and we fortified that, if you will, with the first two essential amino acids for horses. Both lysine and methionine are added to this, so it makes it a balanced protein source for these horses. So when you look at your horse and you evaluate the feeding program, the first thing that you typically will do is look at the horse from a visual standpoint. As we mentioned earlier, the only visual nutrition indice, if you will, that you can evaluate is body weight. And that tells you, are you feeding enough calories or enough energy in the diet? Again, too many calories, the horse gains weight. Not enough calories, the horse loses weight. But what about the rest of them? What about copper and zinc and selenium? How do you tell if your horse is getting enough of those? Unfortunately, you can't tell your horse is deficient in those until it's clinically significant, until there's an outward sign. But little things, you give normal immunizations to horses, and they still seem to get sick when that virus or that disease comes through the barn. Or you have to feed a joint supplement, or you have poor quality hoof. All those are indices of not enough copper, not enough zinc, not a correct balance of those. Selenium is another prime example. The deficiency and toxicity of selenium are the same thing, hair loss, okay? Poor quality feed. So we need to make sure that that's correct. Well, how do you do that? The best way to do it is actually start with your forage program and evaluate that. We can send a forage sample to the laboratory. We can determine those nutrients. From those, then we can determine what else we need to supplement in the diet to make a balanced product. And that's exactly what we did with this Kinetic Elite product, is we looked at forage analysis, looked at what's routinely deficient in those forages, and then put those in a supplement at a meaningful rate to correct those deficiencies before they become clinical and your horse begins to have issues.